First contact. The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before the International Space Station's observation deck. Dr. Elena Reyes, the lead astrobiologist, floated weightlessly, her dark eyes fixed on the stars. It was another quiet night shift until an urgent beep from her console shattered the silence. Elena's heart raced as she propelled herself towards the workstation. The incoming signal was like nothing she'd ever seen before. A complex pattern of pulses and pauses that defied conventional analysis. She quickly initiated the station's advanced decryption protocols. As the computer worked, Elena's mind whirled with possibilities. Could this be it? The moment scientists had dreamed of for centuries. First contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. Hours passed as Elena and her team worked tirelessly to decode the message. Finally, as the station passed over the Pacific, the computer chimed. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she read the translated text. Distress. Fleet stranded. Power failing. Require immediate assistance. Peaceful intentions. The message repeated, providing coordinates deep in the Kuiper Belt. Elena's hands trembled as she composed an urgent transmission to Mission Control. Within hours, the news spread like wildfire. An emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council was convened. Leaders from every nation huddled around screens, debating humanity's response to this unprecedented situation. Dr. James Chen, NASA's Director of Interplanetary Missions, addressed the assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at a crossroads in human history. An alien civilization has reached out to us in their hour of need. How we respond will define our species for generations to come. Heated discussions erupted. Some argued for caution, fearing a potential trap. Others saw an unparalleled opportunity for scientific and cultural exchange. As the debate raged, a calm voice cut through the chaos. Captain Zara Youssef, decorated veteran of the Mars colonies, stood tall before the assembly. With all due respect, she began, her voice steady. While we debate, an entire civilization could be dying. They've asked for our help. As a species that has dreamed of the stars for millennia, how can we turn our backs on them now? Her words resonated deeply. After a tense vote, the decision was made. Humanity would answer the call. Preparations began immediately. The experimental deep space vessel, Horizon, was recommissioned for the rescue mission. Originally designed for a manned mission to the outer solar system, it was humanity's best hope for reaching the stranded alien fleet in time. Captain Youssef was unanimously chosen to lead the mission. She handpicked her crew, Dr. Elena Reyes as the xenobiology expert, Engineer Hiroshi Tanaka for his unparalleled skills with experimental propulsion systems, and communications specialist David Okafor, whose gift for languages and pattern recognition would be crucial for alien interactions. As the Horizon underwent final preparations at the lunar shipyards, Captain Youssef addressed her crew. I won't sugarcoat this, she said, her eyes meeting each of theirs. We're venturing further into space than any human in history. We face unknown dangers, alien technology, and the very real possibility that we might not return. But out there is a species reaching out to us, asking for our help. We have the chance to prove that humanity's heart is as vast as the universe itself. The crew worked tirelessly, loading supplies, running simulations, and preparing for every conceivable scenario. News outlets from around the world broadcasted continuous coverage of the mission preparations. Humanity held its collective breath, united in anticipation and hope. On launch day, billions watched as the Horizon lifted off from the lunar surface. The experimental antimatter drive flared to life, propelling the ship towards the outer solar system at unprecedented speeds. As Earth shrank to a pale blue dot behind them, Captain Youssef turned to her crew. Whatever happens, she said softly, we've already made history. Now let's go save some aliens. The Horizon streaked through the void, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of an entire planet. Humanity had taken its first real step into the cosmic ocean, driven not by conquest or fear, but by compassion and an unquenchable spirit of exploration. As they journeyed towards the unknown, none aboard the Horizon could have imagined the incredible adventures that awaited them. Challenges that would test the very limits of human ingenuity, courage, and the power of cooperation across the stars. The encounter. The Horizon hurtled through the inky blackness of space, leaving the familiar warmth of the inner solar system far behind. Captain Zara Yusuf stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing their trajectory. They were approaching the coordinates provided in the alien distress signal, deep in the Kuiper Belt. "Status report," Zara called out, her voice steady despite the tension thrumming through the ship. Engineer Hiroshi Tanaka's fingers danced over his console. "Antimatter drive functioning at optimal levels, Captain. We're maintaining our speed at 0.1 C." Dr. Elena Reyes, hunched over her own station, chimed in. "Life support systems are stable. No sign of any adverse effects from our unprecedented velocity." Zara nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. The Horizon was performing beyond their wildest expectations, a testament to human ingenuity and the years of tireless work that had gone into her construction. "Captain," Communications Specialist David Okafor called out, his voice taut with excitement, "I'm detecting something on long-range sensors. It's massive." The crew held their breath as a colossal shape materialized on the main view screen. As they drew closer, details began to emerge. It wasn't a single ship, but an entire fleet, dozens of enormous vessels drifting lifelessly in space. "My God," Elena whispered, her scientific mind already racing with questions about the alien biology and technology. Zara straightened her uniform, taking a deep breath. This was the moment they had trained for, the reason they had journeyed so far from home. "Hail them," she ordered. David's fingers flew over his console. "Channel open, Captain." Zara stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "This is Captain Zara Yusuf of the Earth ship Horizon. We've received your distress call, and we're here to offer assistance. Please respond." For a long moment, there was nothing but static. Then, a voice crackled through the speakers. The language was unlike anything they had ever heard. A complex series of clicks, whistles, and rumbling tones. David's brow furrowed in concentration as he fed the alien speech into the ship's advanced translation matrix. Slowly, haltingly, words began to form. "Earth, ship. You, help. We, Arcture, stranded. Systems, failing. Please, assist." Zara exchanged glances with her crew. The translation was rough, but the meaning was clear. "We understand," she replied. "We're preparing to dock with your lead ship. Please stand by." As Hiroshi carefully maneuvered the Horizon towards the alien flagship, Zara turned to her crew. "This is it, people. Remember your training. We're making history today." The docking procedure was tense but smooth. As the airlock sealed, Zara led her team to the entrance. They wore their sleek exosuits, unsure of what atmosphere, if any, they might encounter. The inner door of the airlock slid open, revealing a dimly lit corridor. And there, waiting for them, stood the aliens. Zara's breath caught in her throat. The Arcture were tall, easily 8 feet in height, with bodies covered in iridescent scales that seemed to shimmer in the low light. They had 4 arms, each ending in 3-fingered hands, and their heads were elongated, with large, multifaceted eyes that regarded the humans with a mixture of fear and hope. One of the aliens stepped forward. It wore an ornate harness adorned with strange, glowing symbols. When it spoke, David's translator conveyed its words. "I am High Commander Zixtal of the Arcture Expeditionary Fleet. You have our eternal gratitude for answering our call." Zara removed her helmet, a gesture of trust. "High Commander, I'm Captain Zara Yusuf. We're here to help in any way we can. Can you tell us what happened to your fleet?" Zixtal's multifaceted eyes blinked rapidly, a gesture that seemed to convey distress. "We were on a routine exploratory mission when we encountered a strange anomaly, a rip in the very fabric of space-time. It emitted a powerful energy wave that devastated our systems. We've been drifting for what you would call months, our power slowly failing. Elena stepped forward, her scientific curiosity piqued. This anomaly, could you show us your sensor data? It might help us understand what we're dealing with. As Zixtal led them deeper into the ship, the humans marveled at the alien technology surrounding them. The Orcs ships were clearly far more advanced than anything humanity had ever created, which made their current helplessness all the more striking. In what appeared to be the ship's command center, Zixtal activated a holographic display. The humans gasped as a three-dimensional image of a swirling, violently pulsating tear in space materialized before them. Hiroshi's eyes widened. It's like nothing I've ever seen. The energy readings are off the charts. As they studied the data, the enormity of the task before them began to sink in. The Orcs' technology was so advanced that repairing it would be like asking medieval blacksmiths to fix a nuclear submarine. And looming behind it all was the threat of the spatial anomaly, a danger that could very well strand both human and Orcs ships alike. Zara squared her shoulders, meeting Zixtal's alien gaze. High Commander, I won't lie to you. The challenges ahead are immense, but we didn't come all this way to give up at the first obstacle. My crew and I will do everything in our power to get your fleet operational again. Zixtal's body seemed to relax, its scales shifting in a way that suggested relief. Your words give us hope, Captain Yusuf. But I must warn you, we are not alone out here. The anomaly has attracted others, less friendly species who see our predicament as an opportunity for plunder. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the Orcs ship. Zixtal rushed to a console, its four arms working in perfect coordination. Multiple ships detected entering the system. Their signatures matched those of the Freknar, a warlike species we've had conflicts with in the past. Zara's mind raced. They had come to perform a rescue, not fight an interstellar battle. But as she looked around at the helpless Orcs fleet, at her own determined crew, she knew they couldn't simply abandon these beings to their fate. High Commander, she said, her voice filled with determination. It seems our mission just got a bit more complicated. But know this, Earth stands with the Orcs. Whatever comes next, we face it together. As the unknown threat approached, and the crew of the Horizon prepared for a challenge beyond anything they had imagined, one thing became clear. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community would be a trial by fire. But with their ingenuity, courage, and unwavering spirit, they were ready to prove that even the youngest of spacefaring races could make a difference on the cosmic stage. The rescue mission had become a fight for survival, and the fate of two civilizations now hung in the balance. Unexpected challenges. The command center of the Orcs flagship buzzed with a mixture of alien and human activity. Captain Zara Yusuf stood shoulder to shoulder, or rather, shoulder to midsection, with High Commander Zixtal, both leaders intently studying the holographic display of the approaching Freknar ships. They're moving into an attack formation. Zixtal clicked, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the ominous red dots representing the enemy vessels. Zara's mind raced. The Horizon was a scientific vessel, not a warship. They were woefully outgunned. High Commander, what offensive capabilities does your fleet still have? Zixtal's scales rippled in what Zara was beginning to recognize as a sign of frustration. Our primary weapons are offline. We have some point defense systems, but they're operating at minimal power. Engineer Hiroshi Tanaka, who had been furiously working at an Orcs console, looked up. Captain, I think I might have a solution. It's crazy, but... At this point, Hiroshi, I'm open to crazy, Zara replied. Hiroshi nodded, his eyes gleaming with that look he got when he was about to suggest something brilliant and terrifying. The Orcs ships are powered by a form of zero-point energy. If we can reroute that power through the Horizon's antimatter drive, we might be able to create a localized field that mimics the spatial anomaly that disabled the Orcs fleet. Dr. Elena Reyes gasped. You want to weaponize the very thing that stranded them here. It's risky, Hiroshi admitted. But if it works, we could disable the Vreknar ships without destroying them. Zara turned to Zixtal. It's your call, High Commander. This is your technology we'd be experimenting with. Zixtal was silent for a moment, its alien features unreadable. Then it spoke. In my culture, there is a saying. In the face of extinction, every alternative is preferable. Do it. What followed was a frantic race against time. Human ingenuity collided with Arxer technology in a desperate bid to create a defense against the oncoming threat. Hiroshi and a team of Arxer engineers worked tirelessly, jury-rigging connections between vastly different systems. As they worked, David Okafor made a breakthrough in communication. By combining the Horizon's universal translator with Arxer linguistic databases, he managed to establish a rudimentary channel to the Vreknar ships. Zara's voice rang out across space. Attention Vreknar vessels. This is Captain Zara Youssef of Earth. The Arxer fleet is under our protection. We have no quarrel with you, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. I urge you to withdraw and avoid unnecessary conflict. The response came swiftly, a guttural, snarling language that sent chills down the human spines. David's translation followed. Puny creatures, you align yourselves with our enemies and dare to threaten us. We will crush you all and take what we want from the wreckage. Well, Zara said grimly, so much for diplomacy. The Vreknar ships closed in, their weapons charging. Zara gave the order. Hiroshi, activate the field. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, a shimmering bubble of energy expanded from the horizon, enveloping both the human ship and the Arxer fleet. As it reached out towards the Vreknar vessels, their ships began to falter. It's working, Elena exclaimed, watching as the enemy vessels' power signatures fluctuated wildly. But their victory was short-lived. Alarms blared across the horizon as the improvised defense mechanism began to overload their systems. Captain, we can't maintain this field. Hiroshi shouted over the din. The power draw is too much. We need to shut it down, or we'll burn out every system we have. Zara gritted her teeth. They had bought themselves some time, but at a cost. As the field collapsed, she saw that while the Vreknar ships were damaged, they weren't completely disabled. And now, the horizon was vulnerable. All hands, brace for impact. Zara commanded as the first volley of Vreknar weapons fire streaked towards them. The next few minutes were chaos. The horizon shuddered under the assault, its advanced shields straining to absorb the alien weaponry. Zara and her crew worked frantically, coordinating with the Arxer to mount what defense they could. In the midst of the battle, Elena made a startling discovery. Captain, the Vreknar weapons, they're affecting the spatial anomaly. It's growing. Sure enough, the tear in space-time that had originally stranded the Arxer was expanding, its wild energy tendrils lashing out unpredictably. Zixtal's voice cut through the commotion. Captain Youssef, we have a critical decision to make. Our long-range sensors indicate that this anomaly, if left unchecked, could threaten populated systems, including your Earth. Zara felt the weight of billions of lives settle on her shoulders. They had come to perform a rescue, but now found themselves facing a threat that could endanger multiple civilizations. We need to collapse that anomaly, Zara declared. But how? It was David who provided the spark of inspiration. Captain, remember the old Earth navies, how they used depth charges to create shockwaves underwater. What if we could do something similar here? Use the Vreknar's own weapons against them and the anomaly. A plan began to form. It was audacious, dangerous, and relied on split-second timing. But as Zara looked around at her crew and their new Arxer allies, she saw determination in every face, human and alien alike. All right, people, Zara said, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Let's show the galaxy what happens when humanity and the Arxer work together. Here's what we're going to do. As Zara outlined their daring strategy, the battle raged on. The fate of multiple worlds hung in the balance, with the crew of the Horizon and their alien allies standing as the last line of defense against both the Vreknar threat and the growing cosmic catastrophe. In this crucible of fire and stardust, the true strength of humanity was about to be tested like never before. Human ingenuity shines. The bridge of the Horizon was a flurry of activity as Captain Zora Yusuf outlined her audacious plan. "We're going to use the Vreknar's own weapons against them and the anomaly," she explained, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "Hiroshi, can we modify our shields to reflect their energy weapons?" The engineer's fingers flew over his console. "It's possible, but it'll leave us vulnerable. We only get one shot at this." Zara nodded grimly. "Then we make it count. Alina, work with the Arxer to calculate the precise point where the reflected weapons fire will have the maximum effect on the anomaly. David, I need you to provoke the Vreknar. Make them angry enough to fire everything they've got at us." As her crew sprang into action, Zara turned to High Commander Zixtal. "We'll need your remaining ships to run interference. Draw some of their fire. Can your people handle that?" The Arxer leader's scales shimmered with what Zara now recognized as determination. "Captain Yusuf, my people have been explorers and peacekeepers for millennia. But when called upon, we know how to fight. We stand with you." The next few minutes were a blur of preparation. Hiroshi and his team worked feverishly to reconfigure the Horizon's shields, while Alina collaborated with Arxer scientists to pinpoint the anomaly's weak spot. David, meanwhile, opened a channel to the Vreknar ships. "Attention Vreknar vessels!" David's voice boomed across space, the universal translator converting his words into the Vreknar's snarling language. "Your attack on us is pitiful. Is this truly the best the so-called scourge of the galaxy can muster? Perhaps the stories of your ferocity were greatly exaggerated." The response was immediate and violent. The Vreknar ships unleashed a barrage of weapons fire that lit up the void like a supernova. "Shield tolling." "Barely," Hiroshi reported, his voice strained. "We can't take much more of this." "Alina, status on the calculations," Zara demanded. "Almost there," the scientist replied, her eyes never leaving her screen. "Just a few more seconds." The ship shuddered under another assault. Warning klaxons blared as systems began to fail across the board. "Now," Alina shouted, "the convergence point is locked in." Zara's voice cut through the chaos. "Hiroshi, drop shields and redirect all power to the reflectors. Arxer fleet, execute evasive pattern Zeta." For a heart-stopping moment, the Horizon was completely vulnerable. The Vreknar, sensing weakness, concentrated all their firepower on the human ship. But instead of destroying the Horizon, their weapons fire was caught in the specially modified reflectors and channeled directly into the heart of the spatial anomaly. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The tear in spacetime writhed and pulsated, energy tendrils lashing out wildly. For a terrifying second, it seemed to grow even larger. "It's not working," David cried out in dismay. But Alina's eyes widened in realization. "No, wait, look." As they watched, the anomaly began to fold in on itself, collapsing inward with increasing speed. The Vreknar ships, caught too close to the phenomenon, were pulled in, their hulls crumpling under the immense gravitational forces. "All ships, full reverse thrust," Zara commanded. The Horizon and the remaining Arxer vessels strained against the pull of the collapsing anomaly, their engines pushed to the breaking point. With a final, silent flash that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality, the anomaly winked out of existence, taking the Vreknar fleet with it. In its place was left only the empty void of space, serene and undisturbed, as if nothing had ever happened. For a long moment, there was silence on the bridge of the Horizon. Then, slowly, cheers began to erupt. Human and Arxer alike celebrated their improbable victory, the joy of survival transcending the barriers of species and culture. Zara allowed herself a small smile before turning to High Commander Zixtal. High Commander, what's the status of your fleet? The Arxer leader consulted a holographic display. Thanks to your incredible actions, Captain Yusef, we've suffered only minor additional damage. However, our primary systems are still offline. We remain stranded. Hiroshi stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with that look of inspiration that Zara had come to both admire and fear. Captain, I have an idea. The energy released by the collapse of the anomaly. If we could harness it, we might be able to jumpstart the Arxer ship's zero-point energy drives. Delina's eyebrows shot up. That's actually brilliant, but we'd need to act fast before the energy dissipates. Zara nodded. Make it happen. David, coordinate with the Arxer fleet. Let's bring their ships back to life. What followed was a frenzy of activity that would go down in the annals of both human and Arxer history. The crew of the Horizon worked tirelessly alongside their alien counterparts, using improvised tools and sheer determination to channel the residual energy from the anomaly's collapse into the Arxer fleet's power systems. Hours passed in a blur of technical jargon, makeshift repairs, and moments of breathtaking innovation. Slowly but surely, lights began to flicker to life across the Arxer ships. Systems that had lain dormant for months hummed back into operation. As the final Arxer vessel powered up, a cheer went up that seemed to shake the very stars. Zara stood on the bridge of the Horizon, watching as the once-dead fleet came alive around them. She felt a presence beside her, and turned to see High Commander Zixtal. Captain Yusef, the Arxer leader said, its voice filled with emotion that transcended the barriers of species, you and your crew have done the impossible. You've saved not just our fleet, but quite possibly multiple civilizations. The Arxer people owe you a debt we can never fully repay. Zara smiled, feeling the weight of the past few days in every muscle of her body. High Commander, this victory belongs to all of us, human and Arxer, working together. I think this might be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. As the Horizon and the restored Arxer fleet prepared to journey back towards the inner solar system, Zara couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. They had come seeking to perform a simple rescue and had instead fought an interstellar battle, closed a dangerous rift in spacetime, and forged an alliance that could shape the future of the galaxy. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as the ship set course for Earth. Humanity had taken its first real steps into the cosmic community, and they had done so not with conquest or fear, but with compassion, ingenuity, and an unbreakable spirit of cooperation. The universe, it seemed, would never be the same again. Triumph and new beginnings. The journey back to Earth was filled with a mixture of excitement, exhaustion, and anticipation. As the Horizon led the restored Arxer fleet through the solar system, Captain Zora Yusef couldn't help but reflect on the incredible series of events that had unfolded. Captain, David's voice broke through her reverie. We're receiving transmissions from Earth. It seems news of our encounter has preceded us. Zara nodded, unsurprised. Put it on screen, David. The main view screen flickered to life, showing a cascade of news reports from around the globe. Blurry images of the Arxer ships, captured by deep space telescopes, dominated every channel. Headlines screamed about first contact, alien alliances, and interstellar battles. Well, Zara said with a wry smile, I suppose we can't exactly sneak a fleet of alien ships into Earth orbit without anyone noticing. High Commander Zixtal, who had been observing the human newscasts with fascination, turned to Zara. Your people seem agitated, Captain. Are they afraid of us? Zara considered the question carefully. Some probably are, High Commander. This is all very new for humanity, but I also see excitement, curiosity, and hope in those reports. This is the moment my species has dreamed of for centuries. As they approached Earth, a delegation of ships from various nations rose to meet them. Among them was a sleek vessel bearing the insignia of the United Nations. Captain Yusef, a stern voice came over the comms. This is Admiral Chen of the UN Space Command. You and your guests are ordered to proceed to the lunar base for debriefing and quarantine procedures." Zara exchanged glances with her crew. They had expected this, but it didn't make the prospect of lengthy debriefings any more appealing. Still, protocol had to be followed. "Understood, Admiral," Zara replied. "We're complying." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The crew of the Horizon underwent extensive medical examinations and seemingly endless debriefings. Meanwhile, diplomats and scientists from Earth engaged in intense discussions with the Orcs delegation. Zara and her team found themselves at the center of it all, bridging the gap between human and alien. They explained the incredible events that had transpired in the outer solar system, from the rescue mission to the battle with the Vreknar and the sealing of the spatial anomaly. As the debriefings progressed, Zara noticed a shift in the attitude of the Earth officials. Initial fear and suspicion gave way to cautious optimism and even excitement about the possibilities this new alliance presented. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Zara and her crew were called to a special session of the United Nations General Assembly. As they entered the historic chamber, they were greeted by a standing ovation that seemed to shake the very foundations of the building. The Secretary General, a tall woman with steel-gray hair, addressed the assembly. "Captain Youssef, crew of the Horizon, honored Orcs delegates, today marks a new chapter in human history. Your bravery, ingenuity, and spirit of cooperation have not only saved lives, but have opened up a new frontier for all of us." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the chamber. "In light of recent events, the nations of Earth have come together to propose the formation of a new organization, the Interstellar Cooperative Alliance. This body will serve as a bridge between Earth and the Orcs Confederation, fostering scientific exchange, cultural understanding, and mutual defense." Zara felt a surge of pride as she watched High Commander Zixel step forward to address the assembly. The Orcs leader's words were translated in real time for the human audience. "People of Earth," Zixel began, its multifaceted eyes gleaming under the chamber lights, "my civilization has traveled the stars for millennia, yet never have we encountered a species quite like yours. Your courage in the face of the unknown, your resourcefulness in overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds, and your compassion in coming to the aid of strangers have deeply impressed us. The Orcs Confederation would be honored to join this interstellar cooperative alliance." The chamber erupted in applause as Zara watched humans and Orcs mingle, sharing ideas and forging connections. She felt a profound sense of hope for the future. In the days that followed, the implications of this new alliance began to unfold. Joint human-Orcs scientific missions were planned to explore the mysteries of the universe. Cultural exchange programs were established, with the first group of human students preparing to study on Orcs worlds. And perhaps most significantly, work began on a joint defense initiative to protect against threats like the Vreknar. As the Horizon prepared for its next mission, this time, as the flagship of the newly formed Interstellar Cooperative Alliance, Zora gathered her crew for a final briefing. "I won't lie to you," she said, looking each of them in the eye. "The road ahead won't be easy. We're venturing into uncharted territory, both literally and figuratively. There will be challenges we can't even imagine yet, but I can't think of a crew I'd rather face those challenges with." Lena, her eyes shining with the prospect of new scientific discoveries, spoke up. "Captain, when we first launched on that rescue mission, did you ever imagine it would lead to all this?" Zara smiled, shaking her head. "Not in my wildest dreams, Doctor. But that's the beauty of exploration, isn't it? You never know what you'll find out there among the stars." As the Horizon lifted off from Earth, leading a joint human-Orcs expedition into the depths of space, Zara felt a sense of infinite possibility. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and they had done so not with fear or aggression, but with courage, compassion, and an unwavering spirit of cooperation. The stars beckoned, full of mysteries to unravel and wonders to explore. And thanks to the crew of the Horizon and their new Arxer allies, the future of both civilizations shone brighter than ever before. As Earth faded to a blue marble behind them, Zura gave the order that would echo through history. Helm, set course for the unknown. Let's see what's out there. The Horizon surged forward, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of two civilizations united in the greatest adventure of all, the exploration of the cosmic frontier.